This is Pet Life Radio. Let's talk pets.
Hey everybody, welcome to Pets Mean Business on Pet Life Radio Network. I am your host, Jamie Migdal, and it's been some time since I've been with you. In my place has been my dear friend and colleague, Dustin McAdams, who's been doing a great job with some really fabulous guests on the show over the last several months, but I am so happy to be back. I was just laughing with my guest and Mark, our producer, about I couldn't even remember when I went to go do this intro, the name of the show. I couldn't find my notes. So I am, I feel like even though it's been a while, the second I put my headset on and the second I pulled the microphone out and got on the phone with Mark and welcomed our guest, I feel like I've missed this so much, and I've missed being with you, and I've missed having this conversation and just being a part of, being able to bring some really amazing people to you, listeners, and folks that are in the pet industry. And I'm just so happy to be back. So there it is. So here's the deal. I, Jamie, have been in the industry for 20 years, maybe more at this point. Who the heck knows? I wrote that intro a couple years ago. So we'll call it 20 plus years. And the reality is that the reason I do this show, it's because throughout my 20 plus years of being in the pet industry, not yet a single day, and this just stands to be true today, right now, June 2017, not a single day has gone by in those many, many years where I haven't felt inspired or tickled or just a smile on my face by someone's really brilliant innovation or idea or the way that they run their business or the way they want to run their business. This industry is full of inspired and inspiring people, and this show was developed to showcase those people, those businesses, and also really to inspire you, the listener. If you're sitting in a chair right now, or you're driving in your car, or laying in bed, and you're listening to this, and you're either someone who is in the pet industry, but maybe looking for something, the next best thing, or you are a passionate pet lover, pet owner, and you'd love to be able to make a career out of working with animals. The intent behind the show and the guests that we bring on is to give you the inspiration, the feeling, the knowledge, the tools in order to take that next step, because it's scary, right, to think about either changing the current career you have or doing something completely new and different. Those are all scary things, but there's a really great community in the pet industry here to support you. And that's the thing that, if nothing else, I hope this show does, is it demonstrates that. So I'm really glad you're here. I'm really glad I'm here. And I'm just really happy to be back. If you need something, you can always reach me at jamie@petliferadio.com. I'm happy to have any conversation, introduce you to people. As far as upcoming things where we can get together and talk, I'll be at Super Zoo in Vegas at the end of July. And if you're going to be there, please let me know. Let's connect. There's lots of other really exciting things happening in the pet industry as far as innovation and supporting innovative companies. Purina has a Pet Care Innovation Prize that they're going to be doing for the second year in a row. And that's some really interesting stuff that we'll talk about on an upcoming show. I mean, the point is that this is the time, the place. The pet industry is growing. As you all know, I have a company in the pet industry as well called Fetch Find. And since the last time I sat with you here on this show, our company has grown 3x. Actually, we've actually doubled and tripled in revenue and also in users over the last 6.5 months. I'm really proud of that and excited about our growth, but it's all because the pet industry is primed for moving itself forward. And my company happens to be at the forefront of that. So everything is just so fabulous and great. And I'm just so happy. And it's such a great way for me to lead into introducing my guest today, because it's all part of this next generation of thinking and this new way of approaching stuff. So when we come back from the break, I'm going to be introducing to you someone who's actually become a friend and a colleague of mine. Her name is Nicole Morris. And she is a regional salon quality and education manager for PetSmart. And this is the first time we've had someone on the show from PetSmart. It's a company that I've known about and shopped at for many years and have had, a mixed understanding about. But I've had some exposure to PetSmart over the last year or so in my career, and I've been super impressed. And in being so, I approached them and said, how can I help? Because I think you guys are doing some really cool things. And one thing led to another. And here's Nicole for us to talk about things about PetSmart and how she ended up there. She's a super capable, super qualified, super cool, super passionate person. It's a lot of P's. Super cool, super passionate, and to have her here on the show today is a really meaningful step for the show and for me personally and professionally, and I'm just really delighted. So when we get back from break, it'll be me and you and Nicole Morris a really smart, amazing person who is a PetSmart employee and has been for many, many years, but I'll let her talk to you about that and her path and her passion and where that's led her and where it should inspire you as well. We'll be right back.
I love cleaning the litter box, said no one ever. Luckily, there's World's Best Cat Litter, the litter that promises less mess with less litter. Only World's Best Cat Litter uses the concentrated power of corn to quickly trap odors in tight clumps. And quick clumping means you never have to chisel or scrape the box. Less cleanup with less wasted litter? That's a litter bit amazing. Save $2 on World's Best Cat Litter. Visit www.saveonworldsbest.com.
Let's Talk Pets on PetLifeRadio.com.
All right, guys, welcome back to the show. I'm Jamie McDowell, I'm your host, and you are listening to Pets Mean Business on Pet Life Radio Network. And here today as my guest, I'm really proud to introduce Nicole Morris. I mentioned at the top of the hour that Nicole and I have become colleagues and friends through the work that we've been doing together in my learning about PetSmart and pet careers at PetSmart, which sounds really kind of corporate-y and salesy, but I'm an entrepreneur in the pet space for many, many, many years and don't know much about the corporate world and have kind of done that on purpose. But because I've had some great exposure to PetSmart professionally over the last few months, I asked if we can bring a star employee onto my show because I really want to give some exposure to what's happening at PetSmart as far as pet careers are concerned. And that's what we've done with our amazing guest today. So please, everybody, join me in welcoming Nicole Morris. Hi, Nicole.
Hi, Jamie. I'm so happy to be here today. Thank you for inviting me.
Of course, you're the perfect person to be on the show. You and I have spent a lot of time together. I've gotten to know you personally and professionally, and I'm just excited to have, I'm really excited to have this conversation with you and talk about, you and your journey and what you hope for your future and whether, where you see yourself. So let's, I think first what I'd like to do is just do a little bit of setting of who you are and how long you've been in the industry. So it's been 11 years, correct?
Well, it's actually, I just celebrated my 9th year with PetSmart this month. But a little bit of my history with the company and kind of how I started and where I came from is I walked into a PetSmart grooming salon one day and said, how do I work back here? Right after high school, I really had no idea how to really get my foot in the door in the pet industry. And the salon leader at the time said, well, put your application through. Tell me a little bit about yourself. And told her about a brief history that I've had working with rescue horses. And she said, give me your name. I'm looking up your application tomorrow. So I actually started off with PetSmart as a bather in our grooming salon. I did that for a couple of years before biting the bullet and going into our grooming academy and becoming a pet stylist. The entire time I was bathing, I was envious of the creativity and the passion that the stylists had for the pets and really the relationships that they built with those pets and pet parents. And I wanted some of that. And I wanted to show off my creativity as well. So I went through our academy program and became a pet stylist. I was a pet stylist for a couple of years and also going to school full-time, gaining my bachelor's degree in business management, and really wanted to take that next step into leading a team. So I approached my leader and I talked to him a little bit about what my potential was with leadership. And a month later, I was gifted my own salon to run. So I ran a PetSmart grooming salon for a little while and then became a district academy trainer and really wanted to take the next step into helping other people find that career path and helping them learn the art of grooming and being a stylist and pet behavior and so many other things and helping them really with their career path in life and giving them that strong foundation. So I was an academy trainer, and then I became a quality and education manager a little bit after that, overseeing the district academy trainers for PetSmart.
And you do that for the Great Lakes, right? That's the Great Lakes region?
Yes, for the Great Lakes region. I have a team of about 10 academy trainers underneath me now that help bring new stylists in every day, every month, and give careers to people that are really, truly interested and passionate about working with pets.
And I've seen it, I've seen it. I've been on site with you. I've seen you work with your district academy trainers. I've seen you work with the salon folks. I've seen you work with the, store managers. I've seen the whole interaction, and you are I've said this to you for a while, but you're just really impressive the way that you approach things. You're very professional. I mean, you are for me, and this is why I wanted to do the show with you. For me, you really exemplify a professional in the pet space. I mean, you walked into the job originally, and you have, and the reason I used the 11-year number, by the way, because I was including your volunteer work, because I personally consider that part of the pet industry. I don't think it started the day you got hired by PetSmart. I think that that's when you started your career at PetSmart. But, this is my kind of worldview with pet industry, is when you start working with animals, whether it be in a paid or unpaid position, you're in the pet industry. So that's why I'm always going to argue that you've been in the pet industry for longer than 9 years. But what I've seen in you is, and this is again why you're here with us today, is because you demonstrate the passion for pets, but you also demonstrate a passion for interacting with people in a really respectful, mindful way. And I think that when people think about working with pets, that is sometimes not always a consideration or an awareness that they bring to the opportunity of working with animals or the thinking of working with animals. But I think you've really done that, and you obviously continue to do that well, hence your upwards movement in the corporation and the business. But and I think that anyone that's listening right now can hear that pretty easily, that you're really present and forward thinking. So yay, you're awesome, and you should be super proud of what you've done. Are you proud of yourself? Do you feel proud of yourself?
I definitely feel proud to have grown so quickly within the industry, and really to have the impact that I have today is really important to me, and something that I do take pride in, because it's not just about me, it's about my team, and it's about any pet lover that's joining the grooming industry and really having an impact on their lives and what their training looks like and how we can be more successful as a whole.
So what do you think, so let's just be really honest, right? People think about working with animals and they're considering doing any number of things, just like you did, right? Working in a volunteer setting, opening in their own daycare and boarding facility, going to grooming school, going to dog training school, any of these things. I think what I've seen in my experience is that people don't always weigh every option that they have available to them. That they meet somebody, they get inspired by their path, and they become super hyper-focused on what that one person is doing, and they want to emulate that same thing and get to where that person's going. And I think that, because of that, people aren't always looking 360 at the other opportunities. And I don't think people take, again, I know we're not doing a sales pitch on PetSmart right now, but I just think that because I've learned so much and I think it's really incredible, I don't think people really consider looking around at and considering a job working at PetSmart, or considering that to be a career path necessarily. And I would imagine that you run into that quite a bit. So like, let's say you're at a cocktail party and you're talking to somebody about what you do, and maybe it's a cocktail party that has some influence of animal lovers there, and they have some understanding of what the pet industry is, some insight. Do you see that same thing, and you're coming as a PetSmart employee? Do you get some of that same feedback where people question whether it's really a path that they, and what do you think? I guess I'm asking, do you also see that people don't get it?
I definitely do. I think that the career path that PetSmart offers is definitely something that individuals weigh back and forth. Do they want to go to a private school, or do they want to go through a corporate program? And is it credible, and is it worth it? And what does that education look like? And really for me, PetSmart, our curriculum is very prestigious and pretty tough. It's not an easy program to get through. We hold our associates to a really high standard when it comes to quality and safety and just general knowledge about breed standard. And I think that for me, when I hear that hesitancy, it's more so going through and talking about what a credible program it is, how it's really helped many individuals with growing not only their career path, but just getting that understanding of what it's like to really, within PetSmart, have their own business, their own clientele, and really do a great job when it comes to building their personal business as well. So for me, while absolutely I'm fully supportive, love PetSmart, love working for them, love the initiatives of the company, it's so much more than that when you become a pet stylist with us. You're really growing your own business and your own clientele.
I hear that, and I think that that's, again, something that probably people don't consider when they think about working for, the man. They don't think about the fact that they can pave their own path like you have, and like so many people that I know, within the PetSmart organization have done. I think that, again, I talk to so many people I mean, we, here at Fetch Find and through this radio show, so many people reach out and say, I really just don't know what to do. I don't know where to start. I don't know, should I do this? Should I do that? And it is a trail of breadcrumbs for the most part for people to get to realize what they want to do, and probably also, made to be a difficult point of decision making because people don't know what they want to do. I would say that most of the pet care professionals I know, most of the folks that are earning a living working with animals on a one-to-one, service-based platform, whether it be in the veterinary space or grooming or daycare training, what have you, I don't think folks really started out with that in mind. Now, unless they're a business owner and they came up with a business plan, but even so, I look back at those folks, I ask them to walk me back, like, how did you get to the point where you actually opened a facility? And it happens really organically. It's very unlikely that someone wakes up and says, I know for a fact that this is where I want to be in 5 years. I want to have this job in this place and have this career and have these experiences. It just doesn't happen that way, especially in pet. And so I think I actually said this to you at one point when I was looking at developing a career in the pet industry. This is a long time ago, 24 years ago or something. I didn't know what to do, so I started a dog walking company, and that's what you did in 1994. You started a dog walking company because there was no other option. So had I known, there just wasn't, had I known that PetSmart or a company like PetSmart, let's just play it like that, a company like PetSmart had a training program that would have given me a foundation and some fundamental skills and understanding of animals and behavior and structure and how to be with them and work with them. I just go get that education and move on, which is actually part of the Fetch Find, right? My company is all about it. With that, we're an education company. Get some education and then to figure out what you're going to do. Get immersed and then figure out what you're going to do. And quite honestly, I don't know. To me, PetSmart, that's like, get in there, do it, take that class, and get immersed. And then if you want to open up a daycare facility or open up your own grooming salon or, go become a PhD in animal behavior, get something behind you before you do that. And there's a lot of ways you can get education, but to me, a program like the one that you guys have to offer is such a really fundamentally sound way to move through those initial stages of being in the pet industry. And that's, again, why you're on the show today, because our job is to show people that there's a lot of different ways to get there and to do things. And for me, learning about you, PetSmart is a really viable option. In fact, quite a brilliant one. So that said, when you look at the folks that you work with and you look at your career path, actually, let's just talk about your career path. When you think about your career path, where do you see yourself going? Do you see yourself working at PetSmart for a very long time? Do you see yourself ever, you're learning so many skills, ever starting your own company, ever, where do you see yourself? And maybe some of this isn't cool to ask because you're, speaking as a PetSmart employee, but I'm so curious about your own kind of path and your own thinking around that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I can tell you that, honestly, I have no thought of going anywhere else at this point. And that's genuine, not just the PetSmart Nicole, but Nicole. I think that for me, when it comes to where I work and what I do, I've got to be passionate about it. And I've got to really, truly believe in the mission and the vision of what that company is doing, whether it's my own or somebody else's. And, just the plethora of things that we do to support the pet care industry as a whole through adoptions and even with our own associate assistance programs and helping our own associates when they hit hard times, and just the career opportunity for me in 5 years. I always tease my boss that I'm going to push him either up or down the stairs and take over an area, a regional area position, which would be the next step for me within this industry at PetSmart. But I really do enjoy what I do. I enjoy really focusing in on the quality that our salons are producing when it comes to the grooms, and getting to develop the curriculum, getting to really on a bigger scale partner with some of the people at our home office to help make some decisions to make sure that our associates are knowledgeable and armed with the tools that they need, as well as that the pets that are in our care are really safe and go out always in better condition than when they come in.
Well, that's actually, what you just said is that's really what the pet industry is, right? Our job, it's that one phrase, right? Leave things better than you found them. I mean, I took the train. I was in St. Louis yesterday. I took the train back and got up from my seat to get off the train and go home. And I looked back at my seat and there were a few crumbs. I had eaten some cheese and crackers while I was on the train. And I looked and I made sure that I cleaned that off. And I know that seems like, well, what does that have to do with animals or what? But I always think about how that is our job as human beings on this planet, is to leave them as good, if not better, than we found them. And I think that whether you're wiping the crumbs off of your train seat or you're being incredibly thoughtful about an interaction with an animal, it is at the end of the day about how you're behaving and showing up in this world. And I like to only surround myself with people who have that level of integrity, whether they're an independent business owner, whether they're not even in the pet industry at all, what have you, or they want to be. But to me, you've demonstrated that over and over again. So you should just be really proud of yourself, because you just live and breathe. And I like what you said too, Nicole. You're like, this isn't the PetSmart Nicole talking, this is the Nicole talking. And that is why I think you're awesome, because that is so, like, I couldn't have put you in a better way than what you just said. Like, there's like, you're who you are and you stand for what you stand for, not because you happen to get a paycheck from PetSmart, but because you are that committed, dedicated, and professional. And I think that PetSmart's given you a place to be able to really excel and be able to flaunt that and be able to excel and flourish. And so it's been really nice to get to know you, and really nice to hear your awareness around that. So on that note, we're going to come back in a minute. So we have lots more to talk about. But I am going to let you know that this podcast is absolutely being sponsored. And this is, listen, I would be saying these things before I even give you this next little thing here. I want to say that this podcast would be happening regardless of sponsorship. I know that sounds like probably a little bit of BS, but it's totally not. But this podcast is actually being sponsored by PetSmart's Grooming Academy. So if you haven't noticed, and I feel so strongly about this, and I would never ever have a sponsor on my show that I didn't feel 100% passionate and believe in. And if you've been listening to my show for any amount of time, you already know that. And if you know me personally or professionally, you already know that. But I feel really important, because if I'm putting my name behind something and I'm making them a sponsor of my show, I want you to know that I feel that strongly. So I'm really proud to say that this podcast is sponsored by PetSmart's Grooming Academy. And like Nicole's been talking about, if you are entrepreneurial and you're fashion forward and you have a passion for pets, they really have built the perfect foundation for that career path. People who go into the PetSmart grooming program, they get formal training and they can start their career right there in the Grooming Academy. And I've been teaching classes for a long time to pet professionals, and that academy program is top notch. And they've done it in a way that you can spend 4 weeks. It's a free paid apprenticeship program. It's a $6,000 value, which, by the way, if you're looking at going to dog training school or grooming school or some place where you can go get that fundamental knowledge base, that's about how much it costs. I mean, $6,000 is about the going price. So that feels right to me. It lands right in my ear, and it lands in my understanding. It follows my understanding of what those programs cost. And then after you go through that 4-week program, you get to move on, and then you'll be in the field. You'll move on and you'll get to actually groom 200 different types of dogs through an 8 to 12-week program. And you can learn more about this. I'm just talking about my knowledge of it, and this is a very kind of superficial knowledge, but I do think it's a great program. So if you want more information, you can let me know. I'm happy to pass you along to any number of people in the PetSmart world. Lots of people that would be willing to talk to you. Or, of course, you can just visit their website, which I'm going to look at right now because I don't know it by heart. It's jobs.petsmart.com. But just send me a note and I can pass you along, because I want to give you special handling if you're listening to the show and you're a guest, or you're a long-time listener, first-time caller. I want to give you the VIP treatment. So on that note, Nicole, I know you're still hanging in with me. We're going to go ahead and take a break. Be right back.
Molly, here's your dinner. Zeus, that's not your food.
Don't let that happen to your precious cat. Elevate your cat's eating experience with the Cat Tree Tray. The Cat Tree Tray keeps your cat's food off the floor and conveniently located on the cat tree. It's the perfect way to eat. It's a beautiful wrought iron tray that easily attaches to your cat tree and keeps dogs and other critters out of your cat's dish. A must for multi-pet households. There's a 6-inch tray for large bowls and a 4-inch tray for smaller bowls. Purchase your Cat Tree Tray today. Go right now to cattreetray.com. That's cattreetray.com. CATTREETRAY.com.
Love to spoil your dog, but no time to shop? Well, check out pupjoy.com. Dog parents are raving about them. They deliver amazing boxes of treats and toys directly to your door. Premium goodies from indie brands, all customized to your dog's unique needs. so you can relax and spend more time on important things like couch cuddles and belly rubs. Get personalized boxes of joy for your pup, plus built-in support for animal rescue, all for less than you'd pay at the store. Save $10 on your first order today. Go to pupjoy.com, customize your plan, and enter Pets Mean Business at checkout. PUPJOY.com.
Everybody, we're back. It's Jamie Migdal. I'm your host on Pets Mean Business on Pet Life Radio Network. And today we have with us my friend and colleague, Nicole Morris of the famed PetSmart. And we've been talking all about PetSmart and Nicole and how grateful I am that she's on the show. But you know what, Nicole, you and I have been talking a lot about, so I think we've well established that you love your job, you love your career, PetSmart's a great place to work, all of these things. Let's move past that now. Let's talk about you. So 9 years working for this company. What does your life look like? Are you a 9-to-5er? What do you like? Like, are you working at home as we speak right now? Are you in the office? Like, tell me about your life.
Yeah, sure. Well, currently I am working from home. I did just come back from a 4-hour meeting with a colleague of mine. Normally, I'm on the road or I'm at home. It's a little bit 50-50. I get to bop around all over the Great Lakes region, so anywhere from Pittsburgh to Michigan, down in Tennessee, Kentucky, all over the place. And I really get to visit many people, experience a lot of different things. And it's pretty exciting to get to travel and to get the home life balance. Normally, I do try to be 9-to-5, but I'm an early morning person. So I am up at 6:30 and signed on work normally by 7 a.m.
Does not surprise me. That does not surprise me at all. At all.
With a cup of coffee and then my Great Dane and my Pointer sitting next to me in their beds. I actually have my co-host today for the show is my Great Dane right next to me chewing a bone, Turk.
Hi, Turk.
So, when I'm not working, really, I have a horse as well. Shocker there with some of the history you learned about me earlier that I rescued off the racetrack. Her name is Zena. So I'm up at the barn riding her and spending time with some cute little goats that she roommates with. And a little pony.
That's really cute, by the way, that you just illustrated for us that she has a roommate of a goat. How many goats does she live with?
She does. She's got 2 goat neighbors. She's got a mini horse neighbor named Dolly, who's a little Spitfire, and then a little older pony. So she's got some good friends. So really, when I'm not at work, I mean, animals, to say they're my life is almost an understatement. Whether it's my horse, barn, at work life, at home, I'm one of those that would much rather Netflix with my dogs than go out on a Friday night. So that's really about me. Yeah, I'm all about animals ever since I was little. I've had so many different nicknames, including poodle and monkey and all kinds of stuff. So animals are really, really my passion and really all of everything that I do.
See, that's that authenticness about you. I didn't actually know a lot of that stuff. I mean, I knew you had 2 dogs and a horse, but just hearing the whole like Netflix versus going out on a Friday night, which I can totally relate to because I feel the same way. I mean, I'm very social and I'm an extrovert and all that sort of thing, but I have a really strong introverted side and I prefer to be, on the couch with my cat and my dog. I would say dogs, but we just lost one of our dogs this week. Anyway, that's all. Yeah, it's okay. That's a whole other discussion. But point is, I love the authenticity of how you're living, and apparently you are the person that found a career and a life that is totally befitting of who you are. And I think that's really clear to me. I think it's probably really clear to our listeners. And ideally, when you listen back to this, which of course you will, because everyone wants to hear how they sounded, you're going to hear it in yourself. Not that you don't have that awareness, but I think it'll be interesting. I want to hear from you kind of what you thought about how you came across as far as that authenticity and that passion that you so clearly have. Thank you so much, Nicole, for sharing yourself and your story and, allowing us to take this look at, this traditional career path that people don't always consider, which is following a path that's been really structured and well thought out through the corporate structure. So I really appreciate that you helped us through that and talked us through that and so open to discussing all the elements. You're a wonderful person, and you're a wonderful spokesperson for an advocate for animals and working with animals, and certainly you're a tremendous advocate for your company. So they're lucky to have you. I'm lucky to have you on the show. And how can people find you? Would you talk to me? How do they find? What would you recommend that they see if they wanted to like follow any grooming stuff for PetSmart? Whether it be like Instagram or Facebook? Is it just is it just the PetSmart Facebook, or do you guys have like a special grooming section on Instagram?
Well, one of the cool new things that we've actually dove into a little bit more this year with our salon quality and education team is a groom team for PetSmart, sponsored by PetSmart, and it has our own stylists that are really homegrown and stylists that have joined us from other places, and we go around and compete, and they're really one of the fun ones to follow. At PetSmart Groom Team is their Twitter account, so Groom Team for PetSmart. And cool. Outside of that, we're all over the place. We've got pictures. Our stylists are very, very passionate. The Twitter world is probably one of the biggest ones. For me personally, it's at Nicole Morris _Q&E for quality and education. But we're very passionate about our groom team and really showing the world the quality that we do provide. And we've been doing a great job so far this year for getting our foot in the door, taking home some first places, which I'm really excited about and really passionate about. And you can actually see about our groom team on the website you just spoke about, jobs.petsmart.com. We have a couple of our stylists on display with what they've done and what they've been able to achieve so far this year. And they will be joining you at Super Zoo.
Cool. Oh, you know what? I'll make sure. Thanks for telling me that. I'll actually go seek them. They'll know you, I assume, if I say I know Nicole.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Our great groom team smock, so.
All right, cool. Then I will actually seek them out. I'll circle back with you when we're offline just to get their names and make sure I can find them, because I know that Super Zoo, that's a big groom. Super Zoo is a big grooming competition. I love watching them.
Oh, yeah.
I love watching those groomers, man. They are in it to win it. It is such an intensity that happens during those grooming competitions. It's really amazing. So I'm excited. Okay. I think that I feel like we could probably talk forever, and Mark, our producer, who is in charge of making this all sound really good when it goes up on iTunes, is probably like, yes, Jamie, you've done a great job here, but let's go ahead and wind down. So, all right, so here's what we're going to do. Nicole, I want to thank you once again for being a great guest and a great colleague and a great representative of what it means to be a pet professional. So thank you for being on the show.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. You flatter me.
Well, you deserve it. You truly deserve it. And for everybody else, you can reach me. You can reach Nicole now that you have her Twitter handle. And any questions you have about anything in the pet industry, from A to B, C to D, grooming to training to anything in between, you know that you can use me as a resource. And I'm happy to help, because that's what this show's about. On that note, I will see you next time. I'm so happy to be back. Yay! All right, this is Jamie Migdal, and I'm your host on Pets Mean Business on the Pet Life Radio Network.
Let's Talk Pets, every week on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com.